Hi, everyone.
Hi again. How long has the Watchtower been yelling peace and security? Well, Ray starts on page 569 of In Search of Christian Freedom with this. As far back as 1915, the first Watchtower president, C.T. Russell, expressed the view in a convention that the prophesied time of proclaimed peace had begun with the first peace conference at The Hague, that is in Holland, 1899. World War I demolished the effects of the Hague Conference. Russell died in 1916 in the midst of that war. In 1917, his successor, J.F. Rutherford, now said that following the war, there would be a short period of peace in fulfillment of the words of 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3, with the end to come soon thereafter. The sudden destruction delayed, however, and in the mid-1930s, Rutherford wrote that now the time had come for the foretold peace pronouncement, according to him, to be made from Rome, preceded by global silencing of the work of Jehovah's Witnesses. Instead, World War II began. In 1940, Rutherford wrote that the war would be interrupted by a brief peace period, immediately followed by God's war, Armageddon.
After Rutherford's death in 1942, the booklet Peace Can It Last, written by Franz, but delivered as a convention keynote speech by the next president, Nathan Knorr, continued to affirm on page 26 that the peace period following World War II will be very short-lived, quickly followed by Armageddon. Today, half a century later, we're still living in that peace period, one that is longer than any previous period of peace between the major powers of history, or in history. In the 1970s, with the focus on the year 1975, Watchtower publications spoke of, quote, strange events taking place in our time, unquote, and that the peace and security prophecy, quote, seems to be rapidly nearing its fulfillment, unquote. 1986 was declared internationally a year of peace, and this allowed for stirring up more excited expectations. The Watchtower brought out its book, True Peace and Security, How Can You Find It?, with its description already quoted of a coming peace and security proclamation as an unmistakable signal that world destruction is imminent. That was a quote. In 1990, with the Cold War drawing to its close, the book Mankind's Search for God, on page 371, referred again to 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3, saying, quote, already another outstanding Bible prophecy is approaching fulfillment before our eyes. It would appear that the nations that were formerly belligerent and suspicious of one another are now moving cautiously toward a situation in which they will be able to declare world peace and security. End of quote.
One would think that after 7 decades of stirring up excitement by statements whose worth proved more short-lived than the peace movements on which they were based, an organization would feel moved to humility. Instead, the Watchtower says, quote, the Watchtower Society will continue issuing in its publications timely warnings to the reading public, so that you will not be caught off guard by the coming pretentious proclamation, peace and security, as devised by the nations of this old system of things. That's from Watchtower 1987, September the 1st. End of quote. This is said in the face of the undeniable evidence that all the timely warnings of the past had proved ill-timed, ill-conceived, and ultimately meaningless. The language employed is consistently a mixture of confident-sounding declarations joined with deliberate indefiniteness and vagueness. The September 8, 1991 Awake, for example, contains this paragraph, quote, Jehovah's Witnesses firmly believe that the United Nations is going to play a major role in world events in the very near future. No doubt these developments will be very exciting, and the results will have a far-reaching impact on your life. The Bible clearly paints a picture showing that the United Nations will shortly be given power and authority. The UN will then do some very astonishing things that may well amaze you, and you will be thrilled to learn that there is a better way near at hand that will surely bring eternal peace and security.
Mm.
That's 1991 Awake, September 8th, and you can see that this urgency, this rhetoric is unremitting. It's calculated to get you personally stirred up,
Very
agitated.
near future, no doubt. The Bible clearly paints. Everything is said with such definiteness, near at hand, and yet they've been saying this forever. And the Bible gets the blame.
Yeah, the Bible clearly paints a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ray looks at that next time and says, is it the Bible that is painting this picture, or is it your endless stream of interpretation of the Bible that paints this picture?
Yeah.
So he looks at the rhetoric more closely, and the use of language in the Watchtower literature next time, and some of the texts they use to buttress all this interpretation, especially about the UN. We're going to put a link on your screen to Dwayne Magnani's work, because Dwayne pointed out back in the 1980s and early 90s that they hadn't let up in this.
Yeah, not really. They learned a few tricks about not giving a specific date, but enough.
Just enough.
Yeah, just enough so that you would think of a certain date.
Yeah, keep that sense of urgency. So Dwayne's work is well worth looking at again after another generation has gone by. So the point of that video was that 5 generations had already perished in this false hope, but now they were pointing at 1999, the end of the millennium. Also, we want to attach the F.F. Bruce hard sayings.
This generation will not pass away. So
the truth has been there all along. All you had to do is look for it, and you get great teachers like F.F. Bruce who said, no, this generation saying is not for us. So that's also on your screen. And next time, the use of rhetoric in the Watchtower literature to keep the flock agitated all the time.